We listen and we don't judge. One of the most controversial things I did as a widow, because apparently there's a right and wrong way to widow, is I started dating really early on. I was 4 months out, and I started dating. And I met my now husband. We got married last year. And we've been together, 9 years. We listen and we don't judge. He died on December 22nd, 22. Half of 22 is 11. 11. I see 1111 everywhere, whether it's in gas amounts, whether it's mostly on my clocks. Like, I will just glance at the clock and it will say 1111, whether it's morning or night. I see it almost daily. I'm not even looking for it. I look down, it's that time, and I just say, I love you too. We listen and we don't judge. I look for his presence in my life, whether that's butterflies or coins or special songs or numbers on the radio. I look for those signs and feel that it's him just showing up in my life. And even if it's not, it brings me comfort. I listen and I don't judge. We listen and we don't judge. I'm saying I because as a griever, we are the hardest on ourselves. We judge ourselves for everything. We second guess ourselves. Our spouse and our partner was our sounding board and our safe space often, and our place of comfort, and we could come to them with thoughts and emotions and things. And when that was gone, it made us question our whole existence. It made me question if I was making the right choices for myself, for my future, for my child. We listen and we don't judge. I really, really had to remind myself to be kind to myself while grieving. There's a lot of expectations put onto us by those around us of what we should and shouldn't be doing, how long we should and shouldn't be grieving. And sadly, there's no right answer. There's no right answer. There's no timeline in grief. There's no, you should do this at this time and not this at this time. But I was the hardest on myself. We listen and we don't judge. I was consumed with grief, so much so that I missed some signs in my own child that he was screaming for help and needed help. And it was almost too late to help him because I think he thought he needed to be strong for me. And so he kept all of his grief in, and I almost lost him. And it took a lot of time and a lot of therapy. And he's great now. He's doing great. But I almost lost him too. We listen and we don't judge. I wish sometimes that I could see him. He'd appear to me. We joked about it though. His family kind of saw spirits sometimes. And we joked about him haunting his brothers. And I told him that I didn't want to see him because it would freak me out. And now I think that's why sometimes he doesn't. But I feel him all around me all the time. We listen and we don't judge. I had a hard time with my faith for a long time. I believe in an afterlife. I believe in seeing him, but I was angry that he died. Not just angry at God. I was angry at him. I was angry at him for making me start over every fight I had with my current partner, every hard thing I came to. And I was like, if you were just here, I wouldn't have to go through this. That's what I think sometimes, if you were here, I wouldn't have to go through this. Or that I wouldn't have to go through this alone. It's hard when the one person you want to talk to is dead. The one person you know could comfort you is dead. We listen and we don't judge. As grievers, I felt judgment from everywhere around me. Everywhere. I felt like I lived in a glass house. Like every choice I was making was scrutinized. Like there was this manual, a how-to guide out there for widowhood that I hadn't been given, but all of them had it, and they were making comments and saying things about the choices I made. And that was hard, as if we didn't feel guilty enough for just trying to live, just trying to have some joy in our life again. I felt judgment from those around me. We listen and we don't judge. I felt devastated that so many people fell away because they didn't know how to handle grief, or that my grief triggered their grief. I especially had a hard time with the fact that most of his family treated me like I was never a part of their lives, and they just zipped right out. One of them even told me I murdered his brother. There were a couple that were okay, but for the most part, it was like I was never a part of their lives. And that was devastating. We listen and we don't judge. Please don't judge those who are grieving. You don't have to make the choices we've made. We're making choices with a grieving heart, choices that a non-grieving heart would never make or never have to make. So give us some grace and give us some space. Much love.